Hello and welcome back to the National Metal production channel here at YouTube. Welcome to another currently listening to video. This is the second time I'm now doing this. I've been recording this currently listening to video for about 2 times now, and every time I got done recording, it just never saved correctly. So this time I'm hoping that it gets saved. So I'm probably gonna zip through a lot of this, because I'm getting a little irritated with this crap. I don't know why my phone's doing this shit, so I went and deleted some of my other videos off the phone just to see if this can finally record and see if that's the issue. If it isn't the issue, then I don't know what's going on. Alright, so with that, let's get right in. First album up is, of course, By the Neck from Victim. Originally was shelved for many years, and it was then finally released back in 2014. This was supposed to have been their second album or so, because it's right in the middle between their very first album, Power Hungry, and DMN. It's a great album. I really love this. It's pretty much what happens when Motley Crue, Judas Priest, and Accept all get drunk and get into a bar fight. Just to me, it's a great album from them. I know that Stormspell did an actual release of this one in 2014, because this is a Amazon CDR on-demand copy, which of course features the artwork that was released for iTunes. Still, either way, it's just a great album, just great metal. Alright, so next up here was getting into a bit of a Belgian metal kick, mostly the Mausoleum stuff. So with that, let's just go right in. We got Warhead with The Day After, which was their second album. Their first album was Speedway. This is a great, raw, almost hardcore sounding metal album. At times very thrashy, and just great stuff. Nothing bad on here. Do I like it as much as the first album? I would say this is just great stuff. So, The Day After with Warhead. Of course, speaking of some, when talking about Belgian metal, can't also not talk about Killer. This, of course, is Ready for Hell with, of course, Walls of Sound, or Wall Sound. This, of course, is the 2-on-1 copy that Mausoleum Records released back in 2002. This, of course, is, though, a Russian pressing on CD Maximum, which, of course, also includes a bonus track called Walls of Hell, which was a medley of Ready for Hell and Wall of Sound, and was originally released on the If We're Loud, We're Proud split. That was released back in, 83, 84. Good stuff. Still, Wall of Sound is my favorite, but Ready for Hell is just good stuff. Very more on the new wave or British heavy metal side, but still good. Of course, other favorite Belgian metal album of mine is, of course, the Second Attack from Crossfire. Definitely a change in sound on this one, because they pursue more of a thrashier, almost speed metal sound here. Very much not too far off from German metal bands like either Halloween, Gravedigger, Running Wild, or Living Death. And of course, even at times reminds me a little bit of Fistful of Metal from Anthrax in places. Just great stuff, very different from the sort of new wave or British heavy metal sound, or like albums like See You in Hell or the Metal Clogs tracks. So, good stuff. Favorite. And I have also featured that originally on a Album of the Week video as well. Alright, so that was all the Belgium stuff. Now I end up getting into a bit of a German metal kick. So first up is Living Death, with their very first album titled Vengeance of Hell. So with this one, this of course is the 2014 High Roller Records CD reissue, which of course includes both mixes of the album, because there were 2 mixes of this. You have the Mausoleum mix, which is pretty much referred to as the original mix, and of course the Earthshaker Records mix, which is kind of referred to as the new mix or remix. So they're all featured on one disc. As far as preferring which mix I kind of like the new mix a little bit more, but there's nothing wrong with the Mausoleum mix. And I know a lot of people prefer that mix a lot, because it's more raw. It's got more of a garage sound to it, which gives the album its charm. So, all good stuff. So, either way, it's a great album from Living Death. Definitely good. I still like Metal Revolution just a little bit more still, but there's nothing wrong with this one. Just great stuff. So, next up here is a real underground favorite of mine, real underground German stuff. This was actually released on a label that Metal Theologian had talked about in one of his videos, though I pulled this one out before he even talked about that, which is Metal Enterprises. This, of course, is Metal Meat from Mad Butcher, which I actually mentioned in my comment on that video. Technically, this stuff was actually being recorded like 86, 87, but after they had recorded this, they split up. This ended up being released by Ignorant Wantley without the band's permission, so just good. Again, it's their second album. I have their first sound titled Metal Lightning Attack, which was originally released on Earthshaker Records. This, of course, is a 2008 CD bootleg copy from Strike Force Records, which was based out of Spain. It was one guy, I think, but very difficult to come by. A lot more difficult than the vinyl. It's still good. I like this one a lot. Not spectacular by any stretch, but it just has a real certain charm that I love. It basically sounds what the cover looks like. It's just that kind of style stuff. But for German metal, it's good. It's good stuff. I like it. Alright, so when thinking of German metal, I can't not think of, except classic band, and definitely one of the ones that really kind of started that whole thing anyways, that sort of German metal sound, the one that created that. But still, I ended up getting an Accept Moose, so I pulled out this, which is a compilation of the best of Balls to the Wall and Restless Wild. So it takes songs from those, not the whole entire albums. If it did, it would have been a whole 2-disc. But it's good classic Accept. Nothing here to say much about. It's just classic stuff. I already have a copy of Restless Wild anyways, which is a German pressing of it, which of course uses the original artwork with the Burning Twin V guitars. I got that copy. Just great albums, just great stuff, just classic Accept. And also, when I got in an Accept mood, I also ended up pulling out some more recent Accept downs with the recent singer Mark Tonillo, who had replaced Udo. That's, of course, The Rise of Chaos from 2017. Still a good album. It's one of my favorites. Nothing bad on this album at all. As far as preferring which singer I like, I still prefer Udo in many ways, but there's nothing wrong with Mark Tonillo. Original single for TT Quick. Just great stuff. I love this one. This is also the last one for bass player Peter Baldes, who of course retired last year. So it's all great stuff. So with that, I love this. I think everything's fine. Yeah. For a second I thought I didn't have the actual recording. So that might have come that loud. Yeah, that did. Okay. So, skipping with the German metal, if it wasn't for Metal Warcon and Scott Waters, I probably wouldn't have pulled this one out so quickly, even though I was getting that itch to play this one for a while. But it's a good album. It's the first album for Primal Fear, which formed after Ralph Sheepers left Gamma Ray. It was formed along with Matt Sinner from, of course, the band Sinner. Definitely, of course, if you don't know Gamma Ray was formed by Kai Hansen from Halloween. So there's that small one. And musically, it's definitely similar to Gamma Ray in that, but to me, it definitely has that Judas Priest sound, very much inspired by Painkiller. But to me, this is very much more of a follow-up to like Tyrant Pace's Watching You, because Ralph Sheepers, that was Ralph Sheepers' first band, was Tyrant Pace. So it's very much similar that way as well. Again, all 11 songs here are great. Technically 12, but that's mostly for the instrumental or intro title Primal Fear, because it's basically an intro to the song Chainbreaker. Just great stuff. Love it. So there you go, Primal Fear. And so speaking of Kai Hansen, I also ended up pulling out Walls of Jericho from Halloween. This, of course, is the deluxe edition of Walls of Jericho, or expanded edition. What the fuck was I saying? Which, of course, includes the album Walls of Jericho, and, of course, includes the EP as well, and including the 12-inch picture disc single called Judas. I think it was a 12-inch, or it might have been a 7-inch. I don't know. I think it was a 12-inch. And here on the second disc, it features like remix and live stuff that was probably used as like B-sides and so on. But it also includes the death metal tracks, Owners to Life and Metal Invaders, which are all great tracks. Death metal being the compilation or split album that feature bands like Running Wild, Halloween, and Hellhammer, and a band called Dark Avenger. I've got the Running Wild tracks on the reissue for Gates to Purgatory, so I don't have the Halloween tracks, nor do we even have the Dark Avenger tracks because they never released the full length. So unless Noise Records puts out a reissue of the death metal split, for now, this is all good to have. So Walls of Jericho from Halloween, just classic German speed metal. And when listening to that Primal Fear, besides some of the bands I mentioned that they definitely are similar to or have that sound, another band that I get reminded a lot is Rage. So this is Executioner Guaranteed. This, of course, was their third full, or technically second full-length down, but really it's their third full-length down because they were originally known as Avenger. Had to probably change it because of the new wave of British heavy metal band that were called Avenger, a band that released Bloodsport, Secure Elite, and the Too Wild to Change 7-inch. So they changed their name from Avenger after releasing Prayers of Steel and released this. Their second full-length down, still my favorite by Rage. I know a lot of people kind of consider Rage more of a thrash band, but to me, they're not like the German thrash or like stuff. I can't compare them to like Creator or Sodom or Destruction or Living Death. I can't compare them much to that. Maybe Living Death, but I just can't compare them to bands maybe like Violent Force. They've got their own kind of sound, or Death Row. I can't compare them. Instead, I actually compare them to a lot like Halloween and Running Wild and Gravedigger, and even like early Living Death and those kind of, or Blind Guardian. I actually compare Rage to those kind of bands. They're very melodic. It's got a sort of technical speed metal sound, but it's mixed with a bit of that almost European power metal sound that's not too far off from bands like Halloween or Running Wild or even Gravedigger or Blind Guardian. It's definitely doesn't stray off of that, so it's just good stuff. And of course, singer Peter Wagner definitely has that almost high falsetto voice. It's just good stuff. Nothing wrong here. Again, my favorite from Rage, Execution Guaranteed. So, of course, name dropping Running Wild, I also pulled out Branded and Exiled, which is definitely a classic album from Running Wild. Just everything good. This, of course, is the Noise Records reissue, or BMG, as well, from 2017. Contains bonus tracks, the re-recorded version like Branded and Exiled, Fight the Oppression, and Marching to Die, which were the versions taken from the what was it? Something Years of Piracy re-recordings album, and adds in 2003 recorded versions of Branded and Exiled and Mordor. So it seems almost unnecessary in ways of bonus tracks, but since this album was becoming difficult to get a hold of for a long time, I couldn't pass. I just couldn't. So everything's good about this. I love Branded and Exiled from Running Wild. That's kind of it for a lot of the German metal stuff. So it's kind of just jump in to some of the non-German stuff that I was also listening to. So moving into Japan, this is the only thing I've got from this band. I just got this recently released this year. This, of course, is Loudness, with, of course, titled Loud and Rare, which is a 6-track Odds and Sods compilation, which man, I was going to use, which just uses tracks from like the Compels. What I was originally was using a track. I was just using it for a lot of this. Anyways, it uses tracks from a lot of the 12-inch single stuff that was released around the Lightning Strikes album stuff. So you got The Night Beast, Risky Woman, Silent Sword, Long Distance Love, Mr. Yes Man Live, which Long Distance Love I forgot to say, it's a super mix, and the track called Fair, which is like an instrumental track. My personal favorite of it here is The Night Beast, which is great, great stuff. Very much has a German metal style to it, so it's very similar to like Accept in a way. Just great, great song. Everything else is good. Long Distance Love at times does have a little bit of that Accept feel, more so off of something like Metal Heart. But to me, The Night Beast, very much the best song off this whole entire EP for me. I mean, I like the live version of Mr. Yes Man, which is a song that was originally on, I think, Law of the Devil's Land. And this version here is a live version, originally recorded during the live album, which was called 8186 Live. So let me put the booklet back in. But since they couldn't fit every single song, they ended up putting the song Mr. Yes Man, the live version, on a bonus 7-inch that came with a lot of the releases of 8186 Live. However, when it came to the CD releases, that song was left off and was never used as a bonus track, so the only way to get it on CD is on this right here. So I found this for like, what, $5 I think, way cheaper than how many people want to ask for online, because this is a original Japanese CD pressing of it, because it was only released in Japan. It was released in Europe for a little while, but that didn't last, like I said, so a little while, yeah. Well, went immediately out of print, so still great to have. Not completely essential listening, but it's definitely one of those to round out the collection, especially for like die-hard Loudness fans. So there you go, Loud and Rare from Loudness. So second, last one here, one of my favorite U.S. metal albums. That's of course this Under the Spell from Hex. Just a classic album. I don't need to say much. One of my favorites from them. I like this one a lot more than No Escape. And to me, in this and Wrath of the Reaper are by far one of my favorite albums from Hex. I don't mind the death thrash albums that came out of this after this album, but this and Wrath of the Reaper are just personal favorites of mine. So just good stuff. This, of course, is the 2015 reissue from Metal Blade Records, which comprises of the track Edge of Death Live 1986, which was originally featured on the Eastern Front 3 compilation. It was released, I think, like back in 86, 87. It features new songs from 2014 that were recorded with the singer on this album, Dan Bryant, and also the Under the Spell demo, which, while nice to have, it's not something I'll really listen to a lot. The demo is very raw sounding, while very listenable. It's not something I'm going to go back and listen to tons and tons of times. So with that, it's all good. A bonus DVD, because this is from my box set version of And No Escape. Under the Spell, and it features No Escape, so there that. So with that, classic album from Hex. So with that, I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope that it's recorded. So until then, this is Free Thrasher Sam out. I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.